I'm good. I'm good. Are we live yet? There's such a delay. Oh, there is. We are. There's a delay. Um, mhm. Yeah, just in case someone wants to pop up. I'm just kidding. Kidding. I'm good. So myself, two of my cousin, one of my good friends, and your boy, Steve, we went to the rainforest. We had so much fun. First of all, let the record reflect Washington State is absolutely beautiful. I haven't posted any pics yet because I had to take all of Monday off for National Leisure Day. So that's what I did. What did you do? Mark is saying your audio is not going through, sorry, to YouTube. That's what it's, they say they can't hear you. No audio. All right, so I'll just continue with my story. So, okay, we drove for 5 hours, mind you, to get to the northwest corner, pretty much, of Washington State. We went to the Olympic National Park and Forest. The trees are ridiculous. There's a beach there, there's trees. It's a whole entire rainforest. Mark, can we check you right now?
Oh,
You
I know
connected with
y'all
me?
can hear me now, so
Okay. Wait,
delay.
do- there we're getting I'm getting a cannot hear mark. Did
Yeah,
Tebow say it was good?
we're good. We're good.
We need confirmation. Oh yeah, so Christopher B. Coleman knows what's good with the rainforest. It is absolutely breathtaking. I'll be out in these nature streets now, y'all. It's one of my pastimes. Next weekend, not this weekend, but the weekend after that, I will be going apple picking. So, cute little fall vibes. And I'm excited because it's the Honeycrisp Apple Festival. So, just very leisurely, you know what I'm saying? Like enjoying the outdoors. Mike, when did you get those glasses? Hold up. When did these glasses come in?
Oh wait, hold on. I'm too delicate for that.
No, let's rewind. When did those other glasses come through?
You know, they've always been here, and yes, they're non-prescription. I have 20/10 vision, so it's kind of funny
Yeah.
because when I see things through lenses, it slightly hurts my eyes just by a little bit.
Mhm.
So I can only hold on to those for a certain amount of time. If I look at a chart, it's over. I'm like,
Yeah, I feel it. It will hurt your eyes.
all right, well,
But
it's Tuesday. It's
it is
Tuesday.
Tuesday. There's a lot going on for today,
There is. There
Should
is.
we get
And
to
it's
it?
about, this week is about to, huh?
There's
You
a
know,
lot going on this week.
but let's deal with today. Let's just focus on today. Let's just focus on the task at hand. In the words of my grandmother, eyes on the crisis. So, first off, what's up, everybody? I am Mark Monroe, accompanied by my wonderful friend, co-host, co-producer, co-creator, and all that other stuff. I give to you the wonderful
Yo, it's Jolyns GC and the place to be.
anti. I was gonna say we started off as you took us on a crescendo. I see you.
I
I see
did.
you.
I did.
Okay. All right. So welcome to the Come Up series, where every Tuesday and Thursday it is our goal to provide you your come up, so that way you can be prepared for this market. We do this just for the love of the heart of investing, as well as the love of the people. So if you are feeling gracious, go ahead and hit that subscribe button down below. And on top of that, if you think that we're pretty cool and awesome, melanin popping, go ahead and hit that like button, which is not that far from the subscribe button. And if you want to be in the know just like Haitian Pete, shout outs to Haitian Pete.
Hey. Yay.
Then you could be in the know when we produce some video content, as well as when we go live. You could be first in the chat. So, without further ado, Jolyn, are you ready for today?
I am actually, but I gotta take a sip because
Yo, which one? Which one? Which one?
I have flat spring water today.
Okay.
Well, I normally do. I hardly ever drink the bubblies anymore. All right, what does it, cousins? We got the Dow coming in at negative 269.09 points. S&P 500 was down a negative 15.40 points. And I can't. And the NASDAQ was holding it down at 10.81 points. Just trying to hold on there. We got the VIX. The VIX kind of came up a little bit to 18.14 points. And the 10-year Treasury note is at 1.365 percentage points. So it definitely went up a tiny little sprinkle. Now, heading over to sector performance. As you know, there are 11 sectors. We track the top 3 and the bottom 3 so we can see what that rotation is looking like. So we got communication services, consumer discretionary, and tech holding it down for the number 3 top spots, just how I like it. And we also have, for our bottom feeders, real estate, utilities, and industrial. So if you recall last week, real estate was on top and now it's on bottom. Heading over to our pick performance, as you know, you can find the latest picks for the Come Up series on our IG page at That Come Up Series. And we have CWEB, DraftKings, and Tesla holding it down for the top 3 spots. Then for the bottom feeders, we have again SDGR Schrodinger, we have State Street, and we have DocuSign. All of those were in the red. They were not alone. There were several other ones that were in the red as well, but the list looked like it was pretty much, almost 50-50. We have some 52-week highs, Mark. We have Apple coming in at a 52-week high. And
shout out to the Apple event. Upgrade time.
Yeah, it's anyway. Okay, so then we also have FTNT holding it down, y'all. Cousin Dan said that his target for FTNT was 350. He has a 100% track record for FTNT. Mark, I believe you said yours was 330.
Mm-hmm.
So it's at about 314.
It did touch 322.
It did touch 322. That was the high. And it came back on down a little bit. But it looks like it might be gearing up, to take off by the end of the year. So we'll see, because as you know, cybersecurity is a really, really hot right now. And it is important with all these threats going on. FTNT is a leader. It's definitely a leader in cybersecurity, like top 3 or something. So yes, y'all, make sure you tune in to Sector Sunday this Sunday, because there is the bear versus bull case, and this is the championship. Am I correct?
Yes, it is. What company are they doing? Do you know?
They're doing FTNT. So this is going to be really good. Yes.
Take
a breath.
Oh, let's go. It's lit.
Yeah, so that's going to be, you'll really want to tune in to the bull and the bear case, especially the bear case. I can imagine what some of those bear case finer points might be, But honestly, the bull case seems way stronger than the bear case. I'm just going to put that out there right now. But,
What's my favorite meme, Jolyn? The sands of time can always change.
They can. There's a few things that FTNT would have to do, but y'all will have to tune in to Sector Sunday. It's at what time? Is it at 3?
So I think it's 4:30 our time.
Okay, so 4:30 Pacific time. So
7:30 Eastern time. So
yeah. Oh, so it's 5.
Hey.
Our
okay.
Time.
Well.
5 our time.
But you may want to be there at 4:30 so that you can get yourself an early seat, because this is about to be a showdown.
Someone said I was freezing.
Yo,
Chivo.
it's the Zoom. It's the Zoom
Okay.
update, people. You know, we'll be all right. We'll be okay. As long as you can hear this, like where the knowledge comes from, we're good, people. You're looking good over there, Jolyn. Let's go. Let's go. Let's go.
Okay, I'm just looking at the chat to make sure that
Okay.
no other problems. So yeah, Tivo is saying that it's choppy. How freaking lovely.
Zoom, get your stuff together for real, for real. If not, well, somebody will acquire you.
That's why your chart is looking the way it is, Zoom. You guys need to work on that.
Now
Oh
that'd
my
be
God.
funny if we hear that announcement before the year is out, or probably around next year. Be like, just remember where you heard it from. All right,
Yeah.
so
Okay. I'm gonna reduce my networks right now so that I only have one device, no, two devices that are instead of like 5. All right.
well, shout outs to all the folks that were throwing up Apple in the chat. By the way, I mean we see Apple, green apples, red apples, and then of course we even see some people throwing up some Tesla emojis in the chat. So I see y'all, family. I see y'all.
Go, babe. All right.
All right.
You know what? We have guests. We got charts. We got all kinds of stuff.
I know. Where do we start? Where do we start? Okay. Well, without further ado, because when you be hearing those, you gotta let them in the door. And today we have an awesome dynamic duo of a father and son, in whom which said, "Hey, was it the father who taught the son investing or got him into investing? Or was it the son who got the father into investing? I mean, which one is it? All I know is, who cares? Because they're both come up cousins and they're definitely down for the cause. So without further ado, I definitely want to introduce you to Uncle Trent and Cousin Clay. Can you guys please come in and join us, please? Oh no. Oh no. What is it? Hey! I need the sound effects! I'm here for it. Wait, whoa. What's that I see? Like, yo, what is this? What? Okay, we got the riddles in the building, and we got the we got the Essential and the Riddler T-shirt. Okay, I'm here for it. Speaking of which, I hear that there's a new riddle coming.
Oh, really?
It may give you. It's like if you get it right, it may even give you some entry into the Matrix this year, from what I heard.
Cousins are gonna go crazy.
Riddle's tricky.
What's up, y'all? How y'all doing? Welcome to the stage.
Thank you. How are you guys?
Oh, fantastic. So, okay, so we got Father Clark and we got the son, who is the future of investing. So, okay, so first we got Trent and then we got Clay. So who started investing first? I think the world wants to know. What? Let's go.
Yes.
Yo, don't make me go come into America and be like, I believe the children are our future.
Story though. Clay, how did this happen?
All right. I guess I'll start it off and I'll pass the baton to Dad when it's time. So I guess it all starts with, I've been a tech head like my whole life. My parents was crazy. They put like they put a PC and keyboard like right on my high chair. So I've been doing that thing like ever since I was born. So I love tech, and we know tech's running the market right now. And then, so it all started freshman year of college. Me and my coworker, we hit it off, and we were like PC gamers, and we like tech and just things of that nature. So he kind of introduced me into investing, like NVIDIA, Tesla, and things of that nature. So he told me about stocks. He helped me open a brokerage account on like Vanguard. And what else? He also introduced me to ETFs. So I didn't have like that Tesla money back then. So
Tesla didn't have that Tesla money back then either. But I mean, y'all both came up together. So
That is true. So I hopped into, I think it was like VCR. It was like just discretionary.
Consumer
Um,
discretionary.
yeah, so I hopped into that, hopped into some NVIDIA and Activision, and it was history ever since. But I didn't really take it that seriously because I just bought those shares and kind of forgot about it. And then the next year, I met my boy Tyler, and he introduced me into like crypto, Bitcoin, and options. So that kind of released a whole new world on my side, and kind of dabbled in that too, but didn't take it seriously as well. And then I guess that brought us to like beginning of 2020. And I don't know if you guys listen to Amine Limbo. He had a Kobe track on there, and that kind of Kobe passing kind of opened my eyes to like I kind of got to get my stuff together and got to understand how money works, taxes, and setting up generational wealth. So me and my boy Tyler kind of focused on the options. We were over trading, so we were losing money, and we gotta be like, there gotta be a better way. And then there gotta be a better way. And then came across y'all in the summer, like late summer, and then hopped into the XLK 130 2023, and we've been with y'all ever since.
Dope.
And then yeah, so I guess around that same time.
Yeah, so then that's when so Clay brought my wife and I into the fold, and he told us all about you guys, and he was just raving about Mark and Jolyn. Sometimes I would pass the room and I would see him just watching the videos, and I'm like, what is this dude watching? And so finally I think his whole objective was to watch every single video before he went any further, because once again, he was over trading, he was doing weeklies, he was just, he was in that deep end of the pool, so to speak. And so he just took everything aback and he slowed down. So he watched all your videos, and then now he told my wife and I that, yeah, I think I got a different strategy. I want to learn all this first before I even approach you guys with it. So he did his due diligence. Then he comes to us, and my wife and I, we're kind of like, well, if there's money to be made, let's get to it. And he's like, hold your horses. At that point, you guys didn't have 80 hours of content, but you have a lot. I mean, it took us probably 2 months to get through it, and we're watching 2 episodes per night. And so he says, you guys can't do anything. You can't open up any accounts. You can't trade until you watch every single episode. So yeah, he was virtually the parent during this whole process.
Okay, Clay don't play. All right.
Play that. And so we obliged, and we did our due diligence late at night after I would come home from work. My wife did whatever she had to do at home, and then we would just watch our videos, and it seemed like forever, like we would never catch up, but we actually caught up. And then once we did, I think that was probably September probably October when we probably finally caught up to 2020. And then we got into our first trade, which was XOK in November. So.
And y'all never had any experience before?
Well, the only experience we had before was doing some, this might sound old and dating myself, like mutual funds, and we were losing money even in mutual funds. So it's kind of like our experience was, does this even work? And my thing was, to me, Clay is way smarter than me. So if Clay is doing it and he's into it, he had my ears. So that's all.
So what was that dynamic like? Like, for example, like you guys went from, well, Clay, you went from, investing, like buying a few stocks, and then now you're, we'll skip past that part. But then you went directly into like, trading with a different type of strategy, something in which that, okay, hey, I actually have something that's more solid. And then bringing your parents in, what was that dynamic like? Like, what was like, did you notice any dynamic shifts that took place as it pertains to like family conversations? What was that like for you? And then I definitely want to know what it was like for you, Trent, as well.
Yeah, so it's scary, like when you're not in the investing space and you're just putting money into the market and you feel like I might lose all this money. And especially when you're talking about your parents' money when they're close to wanting to retire and things of that nature, like I don't want to put their money at risk, and I'm not fully sure on investing in options and all that good stuff. So that's why I kind of wanted them to watch all the videos at first and make sure they kind of got a little hold over everything going on. But definitely, I feel like conversations have, I don't know about improved, but they've changed a little bit just because we don't got to talk about, Lakers, NBA, all that no more. We can sprinkle in a little bit of.
Oh, okay. I was like, wait, no more. Like, wait a minute. Hold up, wait a minute.
It's Lakers all day. You see.
I see it. I was like, yo, I'm just gonna let you know I'm a Lakers fan by default, thanks to LeBron James. So,
hey, we're happy y'all here. So.
hey, there it is. There it is.
See.
So,
I have a question.
Go ahead, Jolyn.
Yeah. So, okay, one of the questions I want. Well, I have 80 jillion questions, but I won't have them. We'll have to talk offline.
Let the record reflect.
So, yes, let the record reflect. 80 jillion questions. Okay, so out of this is like question number maybe 53 out of the 80 jillion. What? Well, okay, let me just preface it like this. One, I want to know like biggest lessons. I want to know like, I need the tea. Was there like ever any drama between you two? Like any times where you're just like, man, you got me in this trade and there was doubt. And then also I want to know like, what did you do to one, Clay, build up your confidence? And then also Uncle Trent, was your confidence based off of your son? Or like what steps, what was going in your mind, you and your wife, if you could speak on her behalf, like what were you all thinking at that time when you first got in? Because it's one thing to watch the videos, but then it's a whole other to like actually press the button. So yeah, talk to us more about that.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think we really ever had any beef. There's been no beef. We just don't really do that in our family. So if there's going to be an issue, we're going to talk about it, and it's not going to be any beef involved. So, I mean, obviously, there's been some moments when we were in some trades that didn't work out, and
I hear about that too.
Yeah, I think we've learned that that's just part of the process. Mm-hmm. So, I mean, for me, one of the biggest lessons is, and these are things that you guys have always said on all the videos, like just being patient. I mean, patience. If you can have patience, I mean, that is really the key. And sometimes you just got to be patient before you even enter a trade. Sometimes you got to be patient when you're in a trade, and you just might have to just wait it out and go through those bumps and lumps. So patience and just having conviction. I mean, you guys, that's a word that you guys mention all the time too, just the conviction and in that position that you're in. And if you don't have conviction, then you probably shouldn't be getting in that trade in the first place. So those have been some of the biggest lessons that I have seen. But as far as conversations, right, it's been, like I said, we talk about a lot of things, but there's definitely a lot of more money generating conversations going on at the dinner table, driving in the car, going to a restaurant, at the restaurant. So it's a lot about, even we catch, and I can speak for my wife, as you said, I know even like before we went on today, we were talking about something, and she caught herself. She's like, you know what? Let's talk about money generating information. So yeah, so it helps us.
That's for the feminine leadership. All right.
Yeah, I guess to build on that, like with the lessons, definitely in the beginning, like maybe in the new year around January, February, we were only in XLK. So we had a little bit, I don't want to say like FOMO, but we heard a lot of fun going on with ARKK. So
yes.
AMD.
So at that time, it's just, we would hear get in on red days, and even though that is kind of a good thing, you want to get in at the right time. You don't want to get in early and it keeps falling and you're catching a falling knife. And it's just, you kind of gotta be surgical with it. You gotta be able to see, because every stock is different. So some are just gonna, maybe every month, like SPY is gonna bounce off the 50 MA for the monthly expiration coming up. or maybe something like FTNT, it's gonna ride the 8 moving average, and maybe it's gonna come down a little bit and shoot right back up. It's you kind of gotta research the stock, see how it moves, and then that's where you can find your entry. So we got in at a bad time with ARKK and definitely lost some money, but lessons were learned, and you know, things got to happen. We're in our rookie year. It hasn't even been a year yet, and you know,
wow.
it's like Kobe, he airballed in the playoffs versus the Jazz, and everyone's gonna be at their own pace. So you have LeBron, he coming in dominating as a rookie. You have Steph, he gets hurt, and you don't know if he's gonna be the player that he is now. So it's just everyone goes at their own pace, but you just got to put in the work and learn from your lessons.
Do you all like trade side by side? Like, what is your daily, market life like? Like, give me a typical day where are you all side by side? Are you planning the night before?
It sounds like they are leisurely, Jolyn.
Figure out what's up.
Not like that. So it's a interesting dynamic. So yeah, at night we'll probably get together. We'll discuss what we're looking at, what he's seen during the day, what I've seen during the day. Another thing, and you guys spoke about this on the last episode too. It's like it's more than just me and Clay and my wife. Our brother-in-law is now involved. We have other cousins that they know.
Real cousins?
Real cousins. We have other cousins that are involved, that we're in groups with, that help us out too. But for the most part, I'm an early riser, so I get up early. Because we're here on the West Coast like you guys. So, getting up at 6 o'clock, getting ready for the bell to ring at 6:30, it's kind of difficult. So sometimes, not to put Clay's business in the industry, but I'm sure he doesn't mind. He might still be asleep, right? But if something's going on that's interesting, I'll go in there, I'll wake him up, and I say, hey, something's about to go down. So he'll get up and doing it. So that's when we get side to side and something like that. But for the most part, he's in his room doing his thing. I'm in my room doing my thing.
Yeah, I like my leaps and I like my sleep. So.
Hey, that right there, that's a whole bar. That is a whole bar. Can you say it again for the people in the back, please?
I like my leaps and I like my sleep. So
there it is.
You mentioned brother-in-law and cousins. I know a lot of the cousins have been asking about, what is it that they can say to their family to get them, on board. So what was, something key that you said to your family members to be like, hey, we got to build this generational wealth together?
That's a good one. Clay, you want to start?
Well, I can speak more so with, I guess, my friends, or also like my sister's friends. They know me as like the stock guy. But I feel like there's like a few maybe connotations people think of investing beforehand. If you don't really know, they think you gotta have like a lot of money, which you don't. You just get in where you fit in, and you just build it slowly. And then I think it's just they gotta see you making money and that is working for you before they try to maybe risk their own money, where it's kind of being safe in the savings account, but not making them any money. So it's all about like, I guess, the mindset and just knowing that you want your money working for yourself. And kind of what got me hooked was also reading The Richest Man in Babylon. So that was
good book.
Really for me.
I have a feeling that there's gonna be a book club for Richest Man in Babylon, and they're gonna be like, okay, you got to lead, Clay.
Yeah, we can make it happen.
Yeah, it is very, how can I put it? As far as, like I said, following Clay, right? Something that we're talking about grandmothers and what they said. My great grandmother would always say, just because you're the oldest doesn't mean you're the wisest. And so, and I've always have remembered that quote that she would say. And so when I look at Clay, and like I said, he's all in. And one thing that my wife and I have tried to do for all of our children's, obviously education is very important, but we also want them to be leisurely. We might seem leisurely, but that is the goal. I mean, the goal is for them to be leisure and for them to have, literally, as Tebow says, right, this is more than just options. We want them to have literally options on, you know, what they want to do in life. And if that is, you know, working 9 to 5 and enjoying their day-to-day process, and if it's like, hey, I only want to be here for 5 years and then I'm out and then I'm focusing on the markets, then that's great too. So we've always wanted them to all just think independently, and it's more than one way to skin a cat. So
What did your brother-in-law say?
So
Brought this up to him, because saying like people want to know like, okay, what do I have to do to convince my family? It took me, I think 3 years or so before my siblings joined me.
Yeah, he has a job where he has a 401k. So he was heavily invested in that, but he definitely couldn't do options.
Mm-hmm.
And so my wife was in his ear, just telling him about you guys, feeding him the videos. We would watch it. She'll send him the video. After you get off the work, watch the video. And I think in the beginning, he probably was very skeptical about it. And
he's a risk averse.
Totally risk averse type guy. And then once he got into XOK, and then he saw how the parents performed, then I think he was sold from there. So if I would tell anybody, if you're trying to get your family members involved, send them to the parents, right? They're called the parents for a reason. So get your family members, get them in the parents. Clay did that with a few of his friends, put them in XOK. There's a few friends that we didn't put in XOK, and as Clay said, we put him in ARKK and AMD. Obviously, the AMD one ended up okay. Still waiting for ARKK to turn around. So I would say, you know, with someone like my brother-in-law, he's kind of already in the market per se, but he is kind of risk averse. But send him something that you know that's proven, like XOK. Yeah. For the ones that aren't in the market, I think that's a great place to start too. And as Clay said, they really have to see your performance and your portfolio. If it's raggedy, right, Joanne, they don't want no part. I want to call you Joanne. Joanne, they don't want no part.
You're not looking at Joanne's stock, are you? Like the Joanne's the stock.
I'm so sorry.
And I think it's even, you don't have to get into options. You can get maybe Apple stock, and we've seen like in a year, it's almost doubled. So if we can see if that happens with stock, it's going to be even greater when it happens in options. So it's just kind of them be able to see and process that for themselves. But you also kind of nagging them to invest and do all that.
You don't want them to miss the boat, but sometimes they do. And then it might, it's never too late. But now you're at a different level, and I think that even kind of happens with your series, right? You got to go back and you got to look at all those videos, because we just can't keep talking about the basics 24/7.
Yeah, I was gonna ask, like, you know, now that people had like the dynamics have shifted a little bit, you know, how do you guys see the world now? Like that was that's a big question that I always ask people, you know, where you go from, you know, not really knowing very much about the market to now understanding it and then going even deeper into it. So really, like, you know, it's gonna be funny because I'm guessing, like, for a lot of cousins here, like their first ever, you know, journey with us is probably going to be around the quadruple witching period of September, where that's their 1 year anniversary of being an investor / trader, you know, long-term trader. And so, you know, I always, like, when I find myself talking to folks, I'm like, well, how do you see the world now? Like, you know, what does it look like through your eyes now?
Want me to go? I feel like with, I guess, the roaring 4s and roaring 20s, you guys kind of opened a new lens for all of us, and seeing that there's more than working at maybe 9 to 5 or a job, and that the leisurely life is out there and is definitely possible and definitely can happen earlier than you would have expected. So it's just that, and it's just now you're kind of paying attention to different things. Like I didn't always listen to economics or the economy or things was going on, and now you kind of have an ear for it and see what maybe Jerome Powell's talking about and infrastructure bill and all that type of stuff.
I was gonna do it from the movie The Wood, but you did it already, Jolyn.
Yeah, and
Yeah, I love that.
it can even be, we can be out getting boba or ice cream, and this is a true story. And I'm looking down at the ground and I'm seeing all these Nikes, and I'm just like, wait a minute, man. It's like, we need to get some Nikes. We need to get some Nike play. I see this girl with some houndstooth Nikes on. They were ugly, but hey, I liked them. So just the things that you start noticing, right? And then it's kind of like, wait a minute, that might be a company that we really need to look at and invest in. And then even just the books. I mean, right now I'm reading Black Swan. I mean, that book totally goes over my head, but you know, it tells you about the Six Sigma events and things of that nature. And it's just very interesting things that's going to help me as an investor and a trader. So
100%.
Reading different things.
That's so cool.
So what's next in the journey? Like, you know, and I guess for y'all, I guess the question is, what does the walkaway look like for y'all?
Well, I guess we're waiting for
He's like, I'm just getting started. You're already talking about walkaway.
I guess we're waiting for these 2024s to come out, and you know, gotta get the parents XOK, XOY, and you know, take it from there. It's just gotta be patient and let the plays play out for itself, and kind of looking at the market every day, you kind of get into a zone where you're like, oh, that crash happened like a week ago, maybe it's been a month or 2 months before. You kind of got to zoom out and look at the whole stock, and it's just about beginning to end, and it's not really about what's happening in the middle.
Okay.
Do you have a date for your walkaway?
We do not have a day. At least I don't. I don't know about Clay, but I mean, with the walkaway, I think once again you got to go back to that patience word, because this is definitely something that's we're not going to be able to walk away next. I mean, maybe we can do it next year, and that would be great. But at this point, like I said, I think we have a little bit more precision in what we're doing. Mm-hmm. And you know, there have been some trades when we got in and we were over leveraged, and so now we're trying to make some of that up as well. So we're learning not to be over leveraged and trading too much. So we're just trying to calm ourselves down and relax and just
get comfortable a little bit. Get comfortable.
Yes, exactly. But yeah, no, we definitely can see how we can.
Trey, I will say that, you know, you can set a date for your walkaway and you can change your mind. You can change that date, but there's something to be said about having a date and working towards it, even if, because everyone's walkaway looks different, you know, and walkaway means different things to different people. So, you know, your walkaway will look different than Clay's walkaway, like what it means to you. So I would just say, pick a date and you can always change it. But if you don't have a date, then your walkaway is just out there all willy-nilly.
Gotta set it in stone and put it out there into the universe. Got you.
There it is.
Thank you.
So I guess we just asked y'all a ton of questions. So do you have any questions for us?
You want me to go?
Oh, wow. They actually did. Okay. All right. Okay. Hold up.
Well, let me get comfortable.
Yo, which glasses should I be wearing? Should I be wearing like...
Well, I guess, you know, since we were talking about Apple 52-week highs and, you know, we got the Apple event announcement. I guess, what do you see from the Apple event coming up next week? From what I've seen, you know, we're going to get the iPhone. We're going to get maybe new Macs with the M1X chip, and then a new Apple Watch.
No AirPods?
And the AirPods, yeah.
Okay.
And
And
but
keep in mind, this is a 10-year anniversary for Tim Cook as CEO.
Mm-hmm.
And investors are now wanting to know, okay, hey, like, is there one more thing? You know,
so I did see something. If you go on your iPhone, you go to the Apple website and you click on the event, and then you click on the Apple logo, it'll bring up AR like
uh-huh,
Apple,
uh-huh.
and then zoom into it on your phone. And I mean, I'm just gonna sip.
Gonna sip on that.
We can
I'm
get some
just saying,
AR.
like, you know, hey, these are not prescription. But that's for a whole nother other. Yeah, so in looking at Apple and moving forward, I definitely believe that there may be that one thing in which that it's just, you know, showing us what the concept looks like. I think that they've had more than enough time. Of course, release date, I mean, that's going to be a little bit hazy because of the fact that we're still dealing with a chip supply shortage. Though that if anybody needs to understand exactly how Apple does it, they recycle a lot of stuff, so which means that they could possibly use some of the same technology that they've recycled from other devices, other processing units, or whatever you may have, and honestly put that within a wearable device, which keeps it rolling and keeps actually, like, you know, this money machine running. Um, I think that also they're going to be hinting very heavily on services. So we could probably be seeing another services. We could probably be seeing something as it pertains to Apple Wallet. Also, and how that coincides with Apple. I know that we're coming out with a new charging system. Now, let's look at it as it pertains to the stock. So one of the things, I think I had a price target this year for Apple at about 160, though that Dan Ives completely obliterated my price target with a 185. So there's that. I think that honestly, it's like Apple has shown on countless times that it knows how to generate cash. I think a lot of folks are looking at the one red flag, which is the App Store possibly being under potential scrutiny and also possibly having some issues where we may have to see some significant changes or some structural changes. But all in all, I think the biggest thing is that I think as we move forward, Apple's going to make the argument as it pertains to security and fraud, and why is it that you go through Apple's ecosystem versus everybody else, and I think Google will do the same thing. And I think that honestly, where we could see Apple moving forward, we're sitting at the top right now, so I wouldn't be surprised if we probably have a few more moments of in the sun for Apple, especially leading up to the announcement. But don't be surprised that as we get to the announcement, we start seeing that things tend to sell off or they start to trade to the downside a little bit. So we see some profit taking. So that's typically what we see historically for an event. So which means that historically you'll see that Apple tends to slightly run up going into its event because of anticipation and people trying to potentially hedge for a one more thing event. And then you'll see the stocks sell off probably around at the close of the event, and it'll kind of like taper off or sell off, and then you'll probably see it come back to life after we see its release. So it sounds like it's been confirmed that they're going to release their iPhone in mid-October, and of course, you know, Apple, they make a killing because of the fact that they go through carriers in which that ultimately pay for things outright, and then you have to deal with the carrier and with those perks and everything else. Like, so that's my take on Apple. I think that Apple is going to do just fine. I think it's going to run, but then at the same token, it's going to settle off. I think the one thing to be cautious about, though, is you could see, given that Apple's at the top, you could possibly see Apple slightly pull back to create an opening and possibly go into correction. So
I feel like that's the more likely case, Mark, only because when we look at Apple, just like I'm looking at the chart right now, its patterns, like you said, it always leading up to the event, there is a lot of buying. People are buying in anticipation, and then it kind of tapers off. But the thing about Apple is that it does not move super fast. It takes its time. It's slow and steady, though. So if there is a pullback, and for those of you that are looking to get into Apple, make sure that you see the confirmation as it's going back up, but don't wait too long to get in, because it tends to, when it does have its day, it will have its day. Yeah. And it's, you know, if you're been looking at Apple and this is the one that you have been doing due diligence on, then you definitely don't want to miss those opportunities. Like right now, it's what is it? It's at 156.
Correct.
69 right now. If Mark, you had 160, Dan I said 185. I don't see it getting to 185 until, honestly, I don't see it getting to 185 until much later in the year. It's not going to, Apple doesn't move that fast.
Yeah.
So it's not going to move that fast right away. But I also see the possibility of it pulling back slightly and then possibly taking off. But again, it will be in the stair steps. So be on the lookout for that pattern in the chart.
Yeah. And I'm just going to say, remember this about Apple, like, you know, and they said it best. We don't just make devices. We make devices that you never thought that you can live without.
True.
All right. What's next? What's next? Hit me with your best shot, y'all.
Question. Hopefully it's something that you haven't already shared with us.
Okay.
So, and since we're talking about generational wealth,
okay,
and since one day I'm sure the two of you will have children, or even if this is whatever, what are some of the 2 or 3 ideas, ideals, strategies that you would share with your children or nieces and nephews that about the stock market that maybe you haven't shared with us that you will want to instill in them and make sure they know? Keep those secrets.
Actually, I'll give you all a cheat code. I'll give you all a cheat code. I hope that everybody's listening, because if you're not listening, then you may have missed it. But then that's the beautiful thing about upon the replay. So here's how I would do it. When you first start out, you set out as an explorer. You're looking for liquidity. You're looking to build up liquidity within your portfolio or within your pockets. So everything that you do builds liquidity. Once you get to a certain point, then you're going to want to say, okay, hey, I can take on a little bit more risk. But at the same token, I always want to keep that safety right there with me. So what does that mean? In order to create generational wealth, they say that you have to have multiple sources in which that ultimately that you're making money. Now, some folks think that you have to do it on a job basis, or, you know, also, you know, probably having a startup or whatever you may have. That's your road to whatever. Let's just keep it straight focus here within the market. You guys got your pen and paper ready?
Mm-hmm.
All right. There's a reason why I started off with everybody playing leaps first. Why? Because of the fact is that when you play long-term leaps, especially within, you know, correct strike prices or within reasonable ranges, then you get to see exactly how that math works. But once you get to a certain point in your trading time, imagine what this looks like. Let's say that you started off and you did this whole rolling fours, you know, process. And if you don't know what the rolling fours is, go back and it's in the starter pack. It's there. I promise you it's there. But let's say that you did everything that you were supposed to do within the rolling fours strategy. So now the rolling fours has now been completed, right? Well, slightly. Because now what happens when, say, for example, you continue on in that process, but then you move some of the cash from, say, for example, the rolling fours of the long-term leap options, where you keep some of those on the table. You also have stock that also gives you a quarterly dividend. But then imagine what happens if you also do a monthly dividend, aka, say, for example, MLP DX. So imagine having an MLP fund where if you put in $1 million towards that, and it gives you a monthly dividend of about $13,000 a month while you're playing the long-term leaps while you're also holding the stock.
Oh yeah.
That right there is one of the greatest cheat codes that you can ever live off of. Why? Because the monthly dividend literally pays for all your bills. The long-term leaps ultimately keeps that machine running, where you don't, like you said, you like your leaps and your sleeps. And then on top of that, you can hold stock, so that way you can have ownership. You can also have voting power or whatever it is, or you can also just collect a quarterly dividend and also still have the growth.
See, that's called not chopping down the apple tree.
And in the words that I like to say, checkmate.
Now, I subscribe to that, Mark, for sure. But one thing that I would tell Jolyns Jr., I would name my kids Jolyns Jr. if it's a boy or a girl. So Jolyns Jr., that's the girl. I would let her know that for me, it'd be more about mindset. I would definitely let her know that she is capable of making the money herself and building the wealth herself without, you know, a husband or whatever. And the reason why is because um, the way society is set up, it programs us as women to be dependent and to, you know, I remember in law school, most of the women there were looking to just get married. And if I didn't have the women in my life that I had, I could have easily went down that path instead of doing the work and wanting to be financially independent myself. And so I would make sure that Jolene Jr. and any other, you know, little girl in my life right now, like my nieces, I would make sure that they knew that they were capable of generating massive amounts of wealth individually, and that it gets better when you have two individuals or a village model, however you want to do it, but knowing that they are capable of doing that themselves. Building up that self-efficacy, especially as it when it comes to navigating in a Black or brown body, um, in wealth. Like this stuff is not necessarily, um, you know, typical conversation at the dinner table. And it's really starting with us and having that instilled into our youth and continuing that trend of passing down the knowledge. Like, especially what Mark just talked about with having something that pays you monthly. We don't talk about that kind of stuff, you know? We get the money, it's spent. And now we get the money and it's invested, but then what if you have to take something out? We don't talk about paying yourself back. We don't talk about those things, not yet anyway. And so that mindset piece would be the biggest thing that I would want all the Jolyn Juniors to know and have down packed first. And then we'll talk about like, okay, now this is what you're gonna do. This is your blueprint. This is your master plan. Get them rolling fours, you know, rolling fours, unrolling fours, unrolling fours, because that's also a thing. So that's where I would definitely start with that.
I would also say this, you know, because I know a lot of folks are in the chat like, wait, what?
Are they?
Yeah, I'm like seeing it right now. I'm like, oh, I just opened up Pandora's box again, and I promised I was gonna do it, but hey, I'm a rule breaker. What can I do? But I will say this though, lifelong lesson that I'll ever teach my child is focus on things in life that don't depreciate. Focus on things in life that don't depreciate. So meaning that, you know, if you are in a like, and it's like, you know, for me, investing is life. It's always been that way. You know, you guys know how I am. Knowledge transcends age. So it's like, if you're in relationships with friends in which that you have to question exactly why is it that you're actually friends with them, and you realize that it's not good for you, then that relationship has depreciated its value.
Woo! Say it again, Mark. Say it again.
If you're in relationships with friends and you realize that that's not the type of company that you need to be keeping or that you want to be around, then you just realize that the relationship has depreciated its value. If you're around folks in whom which that want to help you build and also are willing to invest in you for you to become a better version of yourself, then that's appreciated value. Same thing that when we look at companies. When you see companies that stop making the investment into becoming even better than what they are, then they're depreciating in value. It's only a matter of time until investors start to figure that out. But when you see that companies, like, it's no surprise, like, look at all the companies that are doing significantly well, that they've taken the time, and yeah, they took the temporary hit because it wasn't sexy to invest, because investors always have expectations. But you can't always live based upon their expectations. You live based upon one creed, one rule, which is to always focus on every day becoming better or being great. And when you see companies that do that, those are the companies in which that everybody talks about, why everybody wants to be an investor into, because of the fact that they understand there's the thesis itself explains itself, so you don't really have to go through great lengths of detail. And on top of that, it's like it's very simple that it feels common. It feels like it's second nature. So that's why I always tell folks, like, yo, for real, just don't focus on things in life or in anything that will depreciate in value. I guess that's the greatest piece that I can possibly give. Outside, oh, I guess people are still like, for real, we got that part. Let's run that other part back. So, monthly dividends, once you get to that rolling forest part. So, if you're looking for a portfolio allocation, this is just an example, not a financial advisor. Y'all saw the disclaimer, but I'm just saying that just for purposes, this is how I would do it. So, here's how I would do it. I would probably leave about 30% towards MLP DX. Then another 30% towards continue to let those long-term leaps do their thing. And another 30% for, say, for example, the stock holding. And you notice that I say a 10% there because, I mean, everybody is going to have something in order to, you know, go mad a little bit with. You can't always remain disciplined forever.
Yeah, you gotta have a little.
You gotta have some fun. Capital.
Not too much, responsibly. But
clearly, I said 10%. So the fund capital could be even just donating it or whatever it is. But I mean, it's just your fund capital.
Sounds like a family office will be needed after we do all this.
I mean, technically, you know, that's really if you really look into it, you know, that's really the gift of it. You know, just imagine if you put together filed a business and did those three things underneath the business.
How dope would that be?
Yeah. Any other questions?
A lot of time.
I mean, we got 1 minute left, so I'll go a quick one. Let's see. Are we gonna get a video when you get the SD button?
Say that again.
Wait, what?
When you get the SD button, are we gonna get a video of it?
Oh, he's talking to you, Jolyn.
Oh my gosh, I can't answer that. A whole video of it?
You know what? If she won't do it, I'll pull out my inner MKBHD and I'll take one for the team and do it. I'll start doing some autonomy vehicles, some autonomy videos. May even have to add in Spot and maybe some other robots, you know, that may be coming. You know, who knows? We did show y'all. Oh, there it is. Wait, what sunglasses are those?
Hey. These shades.
I'm gonna keep it in. I see you, Augmented. All right, so Jolyn, did you have any questions, or Trent, did you have any more questions?
I was gonna say, and you don't have to answer it now. Just moving forward, I would want to learn more about implied volatility versus realized or historical volatility. Okay. I don't know if that's coming down the road. How to compare those and see if it's realized or not.
Okay.
Too fast.
You never know.
That's important, so
there's
They're calling you Mark Kent.
They're calling me what?
Mark Kent.
Oh well, yeah. All right. So, Jolyn, did you have any questions for me? Because we didn't even look at any charts.
I know, and it's 6:31.
Sorry.
All right, what do you want to do, Mark? Should we go into some charts right quick? You know,
That's your call.
We're good.
Okay. Oh, you gonna put it on me? Okay. I say we gotta bust through the top 3 charts.
You want me to
for
go lightning
today.
round?
Yeah, bottom 3, and then I'm gonna see what questions we can get through quickly.
Okay, let's go lightning round then. Hold up.
Are you guys down for the after party, the afterglow?
Good.
It's about to get a little bright in here.
I wish I had my party light in here so we can totally change the vibes.
All right, so what am I looking at first?
All right, let's look at number 1 performing company today was CWEB on our stock pick.
Okay, so as you can see, the stock is still in bear market territory. Excuse me. I mean, it's been pretty much on a downward decline, and as for anybody that understands, you know the vibes, you know, President Xi and, you know, the Chinese government were like, hey, we're ringing in all of the Chinese companies to say, okay, hey, well, you know, you're not bigger than the Chinese government. And then it came out today where we heard that, oh, well, you know, what if we just pay you an exorbitant amount of capital, and then essentially it's like you can kind of like let us do our thing. And, you know, maybe that might be happening, or we may be seeing a little bit of a rebound because, of course, if U.S. equities have become so expensive, or if they gotten to a point where, especially if we're looking at GDP numbers, like I think Goldman Sachs or Morgan Stanley came out with a report where they're actually now no longer overweight on U.S. equities, though that we'll see how long that lasts. But I think that where we're at right now, I think that honestly we're starting to see some changing of the sentiment for China tech companies, especially internet companies. And notice here, if we look at it on a technical basis, we just had the 5-day cross above the 21. So now the next thing is that we're almost close towards the 5-day crossing over the 50. But what's going to have to happen is this 21 day is also going to have to follow suit. So essentially be very, very cautious. We're at a level of slight resistance here. And I think that we saw that earlier on because we were up at $26 and at $26.80 at the height, and then came back to the mid-range. Still looking good, and I think that there's still some rebound here, but this is going to take time. I mean, if you had a stock that was down for the entire year, especially if you think about it, CWEB is a direct reflection of the ETF KWEB. So if you notice, there's a little bit that has to take place as it pertains to the stock rebounding. For me personally, if this was just my portfolio, I would be looking at this for probably a 2024 position for myself and saying, okay, hey, I'm playing this one for the rebound for Chinese tech to make a comeback on the road to 2024.
Okay, next up we got DraftKings. You know, we're back in sports land and people are,
Of course. Okay,
we're back
so
now.
so here we are with DraftKings. I mean, of course, we're now flashing some bullish patterns. I mean, we're pretty much at the point where the 50 day is getting ready to go into a golden cross where it's going to cross over the 200-day moving average. Once you see that happen, then don't be surprised if DraftKings becomes uber bullish and tries to come back up to challenge those highs. We're pretty much at a key area of resistance here for DraftKings, which is pretty much reflected here on October 2nd. And then, of course, February 2nd. We kind of try to do the same thing here to come back up, but it didn't happen. And then ultimately we just dropped down. So now if the rebound is intact and if we see more public sports coming forth, as well as what I'm also hearing rumblings about esports also getting into DraftKings as well, or also within the space later on down the road, then honestly, I'm definitely seeing some more upside here for DraftKings. So it's really going to be in the sense of where do we go from this key area of resistance? If we could break out above this area of resistance, then we're about to go back up and challenge those highs again for DraftKings, which is pretty much at the 74 level. And if we can break past that, then the next level is probably going to be about probably 76, 76 within a range of 76 and 80.
All right, Tesla.
Oh, well. Well done. I mean, the beautiful thing about going in an upward manner is the fact that you see these steps that are ultimately formulating. And notice we're making higher, we're formulating pretty much higher lows and lower highs. So which pretty much means that when you see that happening, that's letting you know that we're definitely in a bullish manner and letting you know that essentially that the stock definitely wants to keep going higher. We completely have 100% of the bullish trend. And remember what I said as it pertains to us breaking past 730. And once we broke past that, we came all the way up to 760, though that my level was 762. I don't know if we touched that today. I think we came at 760.20, but it's definitely showing that essentially that Tesla definitely has the bullish trend. Though be careful though, because we're coming up close within the 14-day period of the RSI. We're at the highs of, or coming up close to those highs of 66.97. Though that if a lot of the things remain tried and true for Tesla, and if we're hearing solid rumblings that their earnings are going to be blockbuster, then essentially this could be taking the stock even higher. The thing is that we still have to break past, is we still have to knock out some levels. We're here and now, which is at the 70s, the 755, 760 level. We break past this, our next level that we're going to have to challenge is really up here in this area, which is very choppy. So be careful, and remember, it's going to take time. It's not going to just happen immediately.
Before we go to the bottom three, I want to pull up Visa. Because we were talking about it last week, and
We did.
folks were looking for confirmation, and
yeah. So we pretty much bounced off of the 200-day moving average for Visa quite beautifully, and then since then we've been on an upward tick. But be advised, there's still some things in which that we are going to have to get past. We made it through a little bit of the storm, but it's not as strong as we think it is yet. So I think that we're still waiting on a little bit more confirmation. But as I said, it still holds, especially if you're looking at a long-term leap or, say, for example, something long-term. That 50-day moving average of about 234, which if you round it up, it'll probably be about 230 or 235 over a period of time. And again, it provided you a great opening space. This stock, it will go higher. Some of the things that are predicated, watch what happens when we see infrastructure bills as well as spending bills along with going into the holiday season. So we'll come back to this. We'll circle it. One of the biggest things also is we're looking at where this RSI is, and it's pretty much at the overbought levels. So of course, the next area where we're going to come back up to challenge is really the RSI at 36, and that's going to be pretty much make or break season of whether or not we come back and do like what we did down here in February, where we came back up and then we came back a little bit lower just to do a slight little retest, and then essentially we came back up. So I think that we'll probably see that a little bit in the behavior, but ultimately, yeah, I think that this is a good look for Visa moving forward.
Okay, and I guess just in the interest of time, let's look at State Street and then shut it down.
All right. State Street. So State Street's been on a significant high. It's so funny. State Street kind of looks like, say, for example, the Bitcoin, if I had it on here. But I won't be shady, though that I still have shades on. But yeah, I mean, pretty much, a lot of folks are like, "Whoa, what happened, Mark? This is supposed to be a darling." Yeah, it is a darling, but just keep in mind, it's like some stocks drop because of the fact that it's bad news. And it also could be the fact that investors are also pricing in any potential as it pertains to revenue loss or, say, for example, cash on hand loss. And one of the things that a lot of folks don't know is that State Street just did a major acquisition for, I think it was about $3.5 billion to acquire someone. I'm going to leave some of the suspense for folks to do their homework. And normally when you see, like we've said before, when you're the acquiring company, 9 times out of 10, you're going to see the stock sell off. And then essentially whoever's being acquired, you see their stock go up. So in this particular case, State Street is the acquirer, but honestly, don't expect this stock to stay down forever.
And then as a recap, can you say what your indicators are?
So what I'm looking at is I have the 5-day EMA, 21 and 50-day EMA, and then the 21-day moving average, and then clearly I'm just using a simple RSI chart at a 14-day period. That's it.
Alrighty.
Looking at it on a year-to-date chart on the daily.
Keep it simple.
And that is how the West plays.
Yo, thank you so much, y'all, for joining us. Like this has been really rich, and I appreciate you both for sharing your story and also for being on this journey together. I just think that is magnificent.
Let's get it. Well,
Thank
thank
you.
you guys so much.
Yeah.
Also, like you guys asked some challenging questions that ultimately led to a cheat code, slipping out as a one more thing. But I definitely want to give you guys the last word tonight.
Let's see. I guess it's it's not always about the trophy. It's what it takes to grab it, and there's beauty in the struggle. So everyone's gonna go at their own speed. We're gonna pick up new things as time goes on, and we're gonna be breathing that different air soon.
We just want to say we're so grateful for you guys, for the whole series. And if anyone's out there who's listening and they've been listening and they're trying to do this by themselves, this community is way too large to do it by yourself. Find some cousins to get together with and congregate, and it's going to help you out so much. So if I can urge everyone, just find somebody, reach out. Most people will not turn you away. They will welcome you and bring you in, and even if they're in a different city, there's ways to do it. I mean, with some of our groups, we're texting people all day. So it's so reach out.
Okay. Well, thank you guys so much. And before I even get off the air, I would be remiss because this Thursday it's definitely going to be one of those kind of episodes. So, and this is one where we're doing this for the ladies. This is for the sisters in the room, because y'all are about to be in a room with a Titan. For real. And when I say Titan, even I get cold shivers going, because, I mean, honestly, who better than to talk to someone who's on the investment banking side, who's done things on, say, for example, the IPO process or gone through the IPO process. Somebody in whom which that understands it and also looks like each and every single one of us. So we are going to have coming to the stage on this Thursday. Y'all ready?
Ready.
None other than Sydney Dillard from Loop Capital, the chief, one of the chiefs at Loop Capital. So if you're ready to see Black Girl Magic and what it's all about, y'all, bring your daughters, bring your nieces, anybody that you know, your mom, your auntie, anybody out there, go ahead. It's time. This is going to be one of those episodes, so please do not miss this Thursday's episode. Until next time, I am Mark Monroe, accompanied by...
Go ahead, gentlemen.
I'm CC in the... No, I'm Clay.
Don't play, Clay.
I almost did it.
No, I'm Clay. I'm Clay. I'm the boy.
And I guess I'm Uncle Trent now.
Sorry, you caught me. Y'all. And I'm Jolyns GC. And the place to be. I can't.
And this has been your come up. By the way, I want to put out an APB for Estelle. Definitely would love to have Elle on this show.
Oh, Elle.
She know what her IG is. Oh, by the way, where can people find you too?
Yes, where can people find you?
Go, Clay.
Go.
Okay. Well, witness protection. All right. He works with the feds, y'all. I'm just kidding.
I'm on IG and Twitter. Clay Clark, but I think the first A is an X. So.
Okay.
And my Twitter is @customclothing.
Okay. There it is. And also shout out to Mrs. Clark, because she's also been in the chat pretty lit today. So I'm sure you guys will read all about that when you guys check out the replay. But until next time, we'll see y'all on Thursday. Be safe,
5:30.
keep learning, keep researching. The more you learn, the more you earn. Peace, y'all.